I was postponing doing like some sort of course or tutorial for many years because like life, work, etc. And now it finally happened. So after many years, people can get all the answers they want. And if you want to make images like I do, now you'll have the opportunity to get some insight into how it's done.
Please welcome the return of Alex, aka NOAX, to another episode of the Learn Squared podcast. Alex joins us around a year and a half after his last appearance and brings with him a shiny new job title in the shape of being our newest Learn Squared instructor. And in this episode, he talks about his course, Advanced Vehicle Design, and what to expect and how to approach it. So let's jump in and hear more about this and as well the incredible journey he has been on since we last had him on. Let's go. Cool. All right, man. Let's go. Everybody, welcome back to the Learn Squared podcast and the amazing person who's returning on this episode, Mr. Alex, aka NOAX. Welcome, sir.
Hello. Good to be back. It's been a while,
man.
But
it has been a while.
Still here.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's been a while. You've been very busy, I guess, in many aspects, which we'll get to. I guess one of the ones, the cat's out the bag. You have done a course with us, which is absolutely stunning. If you may say so yourself, and myself, I believe as well. But yeah, man, for anybody who's jumping on brand new, super fresh to planet Earth and not knowing what's going on, let everybody know who you are and what you do, please.
Hello, I'm Alex. You also might know me. You also might know me by my online name, NOAX. Again, that thing stuck around for a while, but yeah, I'm a concept designer working in video games and sometimes in the past film, mostly focusing on hard surface stuff, vehicles, props, weapons, that kind of stuff. Yeah, been around doing this for almost 10 years now. So it's, yeah, been a long time. And finally, after many years of people asking me how I do things, what's my approach, now you will be able to see it and learn it for yourself. Through my new Learn Squared course, which is awesome. I'm very excited to finally get it out there. It's been a long time coming.
So the link should be attached to the episode, Advanced Vehicle Design. We're not sure when this episode will air, so it might be in the pre-order phase or it might be in the early bird phase. Either way, if you are listening to this as it's aired, there'll be a nice juicy discount available for you. How long have people been asking you to share your process and your knowledge? I've been one of them for sure. I've been waiting a long time to see what's this guy doing. But yeah, when did that start?
Many years ago. I think ever since probably my Star Citizen days, which is like 7-something years ago. Ooh. Once I started publishing this like kind of like big vehicles, 3D concept design stuff. Every time I post something, people are like, oh, how do you do this? How do you do that? And as usual, it's really hard to answer those questions in an Instagram message because I can tell you, I do this in Blender or do this in Photoshop, but that answer doesn't really encompass the entire process. So oftentimes for those people who reached out to me with those questions and I haven't gotten back to, I'm really sorry. I'm doing it because I legitimately can't give you anything really tangible that you will be able to take and like apply immediately. So I was postponing doing like some sort of course or tutorial for many years because like life, work, etc. And now it finally happened. So after many years, people can get all the answers they want. And if you want to make images like I do, now you'll have the opportunity to get some insight into how it's done.
Yeah, I mean, what a better way to reply to, I guess, a DM is do a full-blown course and they get the full insight as to what you do. 3 years into, your professional career can be taken in two ways. It can be like the moment your creativity burst into life and when you started drawing and creating wherever it began, or when you start getting paid for it. But 3 years into your career, for people asking what you do, I think that's a massive compliment because that most likely happens later on or when someone's more seasoned. Did that come as a shock to you, or was it expected, or no feelings whatsoever? Was it quite neutral when people started asking you about your process?
It's always nice when people reach out and they're curious about like how I do stuff, because I'm in the same position. Like even years on after working in the industry, I still look at some of the stuff and I will reach out to people and I'll be like, oh, how is this done? How's that done? So I know how people reaching out feel about it. So I'm always happy when someone asks or inquires, even if I can't answer or can't help them. It's a really, it's like a really cool feeling that you kind of impact someone to the point where they just get out of their way to like ask a question to you. So I think it's awesome. It's also great because through that, I've met a lot of cool people. I made friends, and oftentimes we just post online and it just kind of exists on our station, but behind the scenes, it can connect people, I guess, in that way. So yeah, I'm always happy to receive those questions. Even though I don't answer to everything, if someone really wants to know something, do please message me. And if I feel like I can help you, I will absolutely make time to get back to as many as people as possible. So yeah.
Sick. One thing that's evident when I've spoken to you in person on the last episode, which people should definitely check out. I'm sure you've had many people reach out to you. I've had people reach out to me saying like it's an instant classic episode. A lot of people have taken a lot of value from the things that you said in that episode. So definitely go check that out. It's quite evident that clearly you're passionate about what you do. You respect the craft of what you do, and you have no issue in sharing the knowledge. Like from the talks that I've seen you do, obviously the course as well, and even the conversations we've had, it's a case of not saying people do this. I guess some people do, but like the safeguarding the secrets or whatever. You like, just here you go. Here's a box of secrets. Take your pick. Did that feel like the case when people started reaching out to you? Like, did you get that feeling of like you had to guard it, or was it almost like, yeah, sure, I'll tell you what to do, but like you said, sometimes it's maybe requires a lot more time to create the answer rather than just give it in one go?
So I've seen that over like my time being exposed to this industry, that there are a lot of people who are indeed, they make something and they just like kind of keep it as a secret, which I think it's fine. Like if that's what you want to do, you do that. For me, I have no problem just giving you like in this course, I pretty much give the entire workflow out, everything. You can take it, you can do with it whatever you want. So I don't have an issue with that. In the past, like I didn't do any courses or tutorials or mentorships, even though people like ask me to do it. It's purely kind of like the time management thing. And I just did not have time to do something like that. But yeah, in terms of guarding stuff, I don't personally care because, and this is an interesting thing. So I feel like there might be artists who think that when you share this stuff, you're kind of like creating competition or something. And of course, we all work in the same industry. We all want the cool jobs and all that stuff. But having done a lot of design work for myself, for clients, all of that, me giving away all my secrets, not really gonna kind of like instantly spawn a lot of people who do the same thing. Because while I'm sharing like a lot of technical aspects, a lot of knowledge, and a lot of kind of like my thinking about how I do stuff, ultimately it comes down to people spending time with it and like accumulating repetitions. Like in the course, I always, like I think I repeated like a million times there, you have to finish. Like you start something, you have to finish it. And then you have to do another thing and it's going to be slightly better. And after some years, not in one design, after years of doing that, you will be very good at what you do. And because of that, I have no problems sharing my stuff because I want people to take it now, start practicing, start getting better at concept design, designing vehicles, props, weapons, all of that stuff. So in 5 years, actually they can replace me, right? Because like I'm I've done a lot of this stuff already, and the way the careers work, and I'm sure a lot of people noticed it online. You see people do one thing for like many years and you like it, and then they just change to something else. They like start doing like, I don't know, animation, painting, they quit concept art, and you're like, what's going on? And we lose those people. That's the kind of like a bit of a worrying thing for me. We lose a lot of people who are very high skill in very, very particular areas. And there's, at least right now, I don't see a lot of people like coming in to like replace it. So eventually, most likely, somehow I'll kind of, I mean, and like not end, but like do less of what I do now, and someone else will have to fill in that void in the industry. So please do take my course, learn it, get good at it. So there is first more cool art. Second, like there will be people doing this stuff, because right now there's a lot of concept artists, there's a lot of concept designers, but there are not that many people who, for example, can design like very high quality, very detailed, like high-end vehicles. There are people who do this stuff, but in terms of doing it commercially, effectively, consistently, time and time again, through my client work, through people reaching out to me, I can tell that there is a gap in the industry. It's like very high level 3D concept design, similar to what I do. There are projects for that, and there are jobs for that stuff as well, especially now with AI and image generation. That we can talk about it as well. But yeah, that's a very long kind of answer.
No, that's amazing. That's fascinating. So like that perspective is something that hasn't really crossed my mind in that particular, I guess, configuration. Like what you mentioned, like, yeah, I've noticed it too. Like people, I guess you could call it pivoting or switching to something else, but I never saw it as, or even connected the dots of like, that's a loss to the industry, which I think is a fascinating way to look at it, because it completely is. And then obviously nurturing it and replacing it, like, you know, I guess keeping the river running. Equally, you could say, at least from your own personal perspective, the fact that there is a gap, there is a niche, you could say, obviously, I'm the guy or one of the guys. So that means more for yourself. Why not just lean into that? Why is it important that knowledge should be spread?
So it's very simple. I can't, for example, like, let's say let's say you get 3 job offers, right? Like, I can't do all of them, right? Someone else has to do. And I've been in a position over the years, so many times in a position where people ask me like, oh, can you refer, like, okay, you can't do it. Can you refer someone? And constantly I say like, yes, I can. And none of them will take it because they all busy, right? And why would I want to kind of like, why would I want more people to do the stuff that I do? Even more specifically, I would like more people to do stuff specifically the way I do it. For example, not like copycat me, but like the quality, the attention, the kind of like the interest and the passion. Because to like, and I'm obviously kind of like filtering it through myself. Like when I work on this stuff, when I make these images or these designs, there is so much behind the image, like my knowledge about whatever the subject matter, my passion for it, the history of studying or being interested in that stuff. So it's not just only about the final image. It's the accumulated knowledge in terms of the art direction, the design, that later on can be passed from a singular image, like designing a tank, to art directing a game. And we need more good art directors. So the more people do these very complex, very long, tedious images, the more they will accumulate the stamina to do this stuff, to like, because it does take a while to do this stuff at that level. And in the course, it will be very evident. Like, it's not like, it doesn't take infinite amount of time. You can do it on a AAA production, but doing it again and again and again takes a certain level of patience, a certain level of dedication to like a singular kind of, not singular style or singular subject matter, but singular category. In this case, hard surface design. And I think we need a lot more people in the art direction roles who can do that stuff. And the only way to get it is more concept artists, concept designers getting better, and then eventually leaving the role where you just supply the image and you enter the position where you kind of like art direct the previous generation of yourself. And that way, we will get better movies, better games, better animations. And that's what I want, because I'm a consumer.
Right.
I play games, I watch movies, I want more of that stuff. Someone has to make it. So I want more people to do it, because I'll get more cool stuff.
Sick. That's probably the most beautifully selfish, but most also giving answer that I think I've ever had on any of the episodes. Because it's obviously honest, it's true, it's linked to your passions, but it's also like understanding that, yeah, the industry, you're still cultivating it. You're not just leaving, I guess, you know, not to put it crudely, but, you know, toxic waste and then just moving on. Something can grow there, or salt in the earth, or whatever it is kind of thing. It's like keeping things fertile. I think a great thing you mentioned there, like there are a few, I guess, like taken to the top of the totem pole, like directors even, who are celebrated for their ability to talk to designers or give them a chance to shine. So their films are great. One name that springs to mind is James Cameron, and a lot of his films that he's done. Like, obviously the guy can design himself, he's an engineer, and he can communicate, I guess, a lot of the stuff, or at least be able to just explain what he needs. What examples have you seen that I guess for yourself that are similar, that are a great standard, I guess, to follow, or just even just to appreciate?
So like one of my more recent projects, Concord, that I was working on, which unfortunately didn't really pan out, but my art director, Adrian, he is coming from many years of doing concept art and concept design. He was working on Destiny, Destiny 2, Riot Games, all that stuff. So working with him was amazing, because I can see, like, while he was not doing, let's say, the singular images, like he's not like, oh, here is like a design or something. That accumulated knowledge and interest in the like, let's say, sci-fi topic. Because like once you do sci-fi for 10 years or like more, you like watch the animations, movies, you kind of like your brain, you're basically like LLM, you just train yourself on data.
Yeah.
And when we were working together, like the references, for example, that I was provided, I'm like, damn, like to see something in these types of references, you can't just walk out and be like, that's good. You need to spend a lot of years kind of like working through it. And then you can tell someone like, okay, just here's a bunch of like stuff, look at it and do something about it. And it's not your typical references like, here is a cool motorcycle. We just want to make it into like a spaceship. A lot of the stuff that we were doing is like, here's like a keyframe from an anime. It's got a good feel. Can we like translate that into like whatever we're doing? Like we're not copying elements. We just like, you're looking at the feel and I'm like, oh, damn, that is interesting, because no one's asking me to like, oh, just copy this or copy that. Yes. And then I get to use my skills to kind of like interpret that. But to kickstart that process, you need someone who's done that for a long time, who developed taste. We need more people with really good taste, because we have people making images. That's not a problem. You can type in and the computer will make you an image. But a taste, consistency, and skills to communicate that to your team or to the artist or to your friends, if you may be working with friends, that's exceedingly rare. Like the great art directors are so rare. It's very, very, very hard to like like if I was a company, I'm like, I've no, like all the people that I would hire like as art directors, like they're unavailable, like they're impossible to get. And like, I don't know where to source new ones. So that's kind of like a personal example where I really enjoyed that stuff. And I want more people to enjoy that as well.
How did you find that particular, I guess that task, that challenge, like, yeah, like interpret the feel of this frame and design from there versus, like you said, like the classic 20s stuff off Pinterest and you know, pretty much reinterpret this kind of thing. I guess for some that could be unexpected and like, I don't know what to do with this. I'm not used to this. And obviously in that case, you communicate, ask a bazillion questions and find out what you need to do from there. But what was it like for you? Was it like a duck to water? Like, did it almost feel like this is exactly what I need? Or was it even opposite? And was it quite a challenge?
It's always a challenge, even after many years of doing stuff. If it's not a challenge, then you're not really pushing anything. You're not doing anything new for yourself, which is fine. Like sometimes we just need a thing. It's okay. But for me, anytime I'm asked to do something in that manner where like, I like when people come to me and like, I like this set of images. There is something there. I'm not telling you to copy the bolts and arrangements. Let's just do something with it. Like combine your stuff with this and then we talk about it. It's really hard to take that and make it into something. But that's the most fun part for me in this job because I am not a printer. I'm not like a copy machine. I want to sit down and be like, I don't know what to do with this. And then find a way to figure out the solution. Because the end result, we all finished images and projects. We upload it and we're like, this is a problem. Don't like it. But the process, you enjoy it. I guarantee most people who work on this stuff, there is a moment in the pipeline where they're like, yeah, this feels good. Like I need to post it on Instagram, show it to people. And that's the most fun part. And with the tasks like that, yes, they're challenging. But I really, really enjoy working that way because I work like that on my personal stuff as well. The course, a lot of in a vehicle course is going to be a lot of like, this kind of feels good. This does not feel good. There is no, like also a bit of a spoiler. There will be no like step by step on how to make a vehicle. A lot of the course, it's feelings. It's like, I just don't like this. Not 100% sure why, but like, here is a better solution. Like, just feels like that. Why? I can't exactly explain. And I think this is like one of the most fun ways to design rather than just reassembling stuff that already exists one-to-one or something.
Excellent. And that's one thing when I started checking out the course, I expected what you just said. I expected, okay, let's see Alex's step-by-step process. And it wasn't that. So that was a nice surprise. And in a way, I'm happy that it was the way it was done. Because I guess it's my language. Like that's the way I didn't realize like I wanted things to be explained. But we'll definitely do a deep dive into that very, very soon. And yeah, I think it's fascinating because equally that could easily fall apart as well. It's got to be done in the right way, which I believe it has. Obviously, definitely sign up and check out the course and judge for yourself, and not take my word for it. But it is one of those things where there's like a fine line between that methodology just not clicking, but it definitely clicks, and we'll get into the reasons why. But it's been a couple of years since we last spoke. What have you been up to since, and what's happening?
I finished working on Concord, so I left that project. I went on to work at Respawn Entertainment for a bit. Unfortunately, that project got canceled as well, so sad music playing in the background. What else I was up to? I lived in Japan for a year, so that was interesting. That was like a big... I moved to Japan. I traveled the entire country, top to bottom there. So that was a nice break from kind of like client work. and also a nice test of what it's like to, let's say, just do personal work at the same intensity level while traveling. And definitely not something I would probably do again. Not a really good match for me. I'd prefer to separate stuff. Now back in the UK, and I'm just working on a bunch of personal stuff that hopefully will see stuff soon. That's also a bit of a spoiler. This time it's not just like an image on ArtStation. It's a little bit, it's something a little bit different. Yeah, so I'm doing that, and just currently trying to see what's out there in terms of like commercial stuff, because I took a bit of a break from the commercial work after the Respawn, and now that I'm back in UK, I got a bunch of things coming my way, and I'm just trying to like see if anything will be a good match for me, and maybe going back into the client work for a bit, or just continue doing personal work. Really got used to just, for many years, I wanted to take a big block of time to not do client work. And I'm sure a lot of people fantasize about it as well. They just do their client work and they're like, one day, a year of nothing. Like, I'll just do my stuff. And then you have that option. And 2 weeks in, you're like, the anxiety hits and you're like, I'm not, like, what? Like, what do I do? Like, I don't have, the money is running out, etc., etc. So that was an interesting test to see if I can kind of like get used to not having a client. And now that I got used to it and I have like my own schedule for my personal work and I'm really happy with it, I'm wondering if that's something, if I want to go back to the client work. Obviously, eventually I have to, because like bills ain't going to pay themselves. But for now, I'm really enjoying my break from the client work. Yeah.
Interesting. So you mentioned there, like, it was something that you had planned or you wanted to do. When in the time was that? How far into the 10-year career was that before you took, I guess, the break that you did?
So I wanted to do it basically since like day one.
Okay.
Because everyone, I assume everyone just wants to do their own stuff. Like, it's cool to work on client projects, but once I think like I really, really, really like planned or wanted to do something like that when I kind of left Star Citizen. I got out that initial, like the honeymoon period of the industry ended for me after that. So like I've done 3.5 years in the studio on a big project. I've done big spaceships and all of that stuff. So I left to do freelance, and that was exciting for a little bit of time. But in the back of my head, I'm like, okay, I've kind of done client work. I just want to do more of my personal stuff. But eventually freelance like went really well, and it would be very unwise at that point to kind of like just leave it. So I was waiting for a moment where like, when is it gonna end? Like it has to like stop at some point, right? It can't just be like going forever. And it kept going. And yeah, when I was in Japan, it kind of like the freelance took a gap. Or like there was like once the Respawn project ended, I was just like, oh, I can like, this is like a sign to just don't take anything. Like, right, just do your thing, because you want to do your own thing. Just do that. Don't take anything else. Yeah, but it's been ongoing for years. I just needed an excuse. I needed that like a thing, and I'm still in like a mindset where, on one hand side, again, I'm really happy doing personal work and it's amazing. And I highly recommend, if anyone can do that, please do take a long time to just do stuff for yourself. At the same time, I'm like, but what if something really cool knocks on my door and I can't say no? Because there are some projects where you just like, I just can't say no. So every day it's kind of that feeling of, at some point I'll again have to make a choice between, personal and commercial work. But until then, I'll just enjoy my personal stuff.
Nice. So I guess it was like an organic thing, right? Like this event happened and yeah, like you said, like it offered an opportunity or a window. And I guess, was it more a case of like, that classic trope of you can go left or right and you just got to decide which way to go?
Yeah. I think even when I was working on like many years ago on Concord, I kind of like, I knew exactly what I wanted to do, which is personal work and some of the like the other business endeavors that I wanted to do. It's really hard to make that decision. It's very easy to, it's a really good topic because I haven't heard a lot of people talk about it, because I hear it from my friends and from the other artists in the industry, like, oh, I'm gonna like do my personal work and like that's my dream. But actually going and doing it, it's much harder and it's a lot more work than doing the actual client work. Because so when I had an option A or B, I'm like, okay, A, I do more commercial work, like the client stuff. I know the outcome. That's great. B, do your own stuff, but that's even harder because like, what do you do? Why do you do it? Do you just want like a bunch of Instagram posts, or you actually want to be taking that time as like treating personal work as an actual job? So I'm like, right now, I am not just doing random images. Like I'm not just doing like another random tank or garbage truck or something. A lot of the stuff I'm doing now, it's towards something bigger, hopefully. And there is no payout right now. So it's like so I'm just doing stuff hoping that it will turn into something else. And that's hard. That's difficult, but I'm glad I went that way and not client work at the time, because I would just be less happy. But now again, high chance I'm gonna go back into client work like probably next week.
Right.
Yes, and we'll see.
So I guess just only, reading what I can see, signals just through the lens and through the pixels, it sounds like it's definitely something that you're relishing and quite passionate about with the personal project that you're doing. Obviously, don't give it away if it's something that's still cooking. But how have you found the approach to doing that? Like, was it easy to? So I guess like you hit the nail on the head. With personal work, it can always sometimes be just kicking out odd image here and there, and it obviously mainly for a lot of designers and artists, it just tends to manifest itself in a still image, for example. And then from there, sometimes it can get a bit of momentum, and then it's okay, this needs to be something. How do we organize? Was it like that for yourself, or did you automatically think, okay, no, I want to approach it like a job, which I think is a fascinating and the wise way to do it, especially if you know that you've got something that I guess needs to be seen, or you want to at least give it its best attention, if that makes sense. But yeah, like, did you approach it immediately as a job?
No. Or at least I thought, like I always told myself over the years, like, oh, I'm like taking this very seriously and I'm like doing it as like this is my second job or third job, whatever. But the reality always was, and I kind of have to be honest with myself now, I was just messing around with it, pretending that it's something. And now it's like it's how to explain it. It's like now there are tasks, right? There's like literally simply there are tasks. There are some sort of deadlines. I'm working on it with my friend as well, so it's not just me. So it's kind of like a joint effort. There is potentially some money involved here as well. So there is like financial stake in the whole thing. I know I'm really hyping this whole thing up, and then when it comes out, people will be like, "That's what you were talking about." Weird. Maybe, I don't know. maybe we can do podcast about that thing once it comes out, hopefully in a few months, actually. So anyway, so yeah, for many years, it was just like kind of like a bar chat, or like, we should do this, we should do that, we should do this. Or you're like in Discord with friends, like, let's do this, let's do that. Cool. But now it's actually like, okay, I wake up and I'm like, I feel like inside, like I need to like spend like certain amount of time doing it for a particular reason and not just because I want an image on Instagram.
So it's easy saying that you're approaching it like a work project, right? But for many people, when you approach a personal project versus like, a commercial one or a client one, sometimes it's markedly different. Sometimes there's always a different approach. Usually a more relaxed one in the sense of like, because there's no like, I guess, commercial deadlines involved, although perhaps in this case there will be. So is it almost like a job, or is it a job on your terms? If that makes sense.
I think I'm not sure. I think it's more like a job on my terms, because I mean, we would need to really define what is a job.
Yes.
Like, because doing dishes can be a job, right?
Yes.
I think for me, the difference between, let's say, a random personal project and a commercial project is that there is urgency, right? So usually with the personal stuff, and sometimes there is urgency, but usually with personal work the end result is posting on Instagram on ArtStation. You're kind of like, I'll finish it later, or like it will take a bit of time. Something else comes up and you just like postpone it. Whereas in this case, even though it's right now a personal work, not like for a client. I mean, I'm my own client, but I'm sacrificing other stuff to do it. It's not like my other personal work that I've done before where, the client project comes in, like I'm gonna stop like the tank or the garbage truck that I posted recently. That took a long time to finish purely because something else came along and interrupted. Whereas now I am purposely guarding this thing from anything else. And that's what makes it for me a job, because I really prioritize it. There is no like, I'll do it later in a month. It needs to be done right now. And anything else that comes in, even like the client work right now, I'm very like, is it worth doing more client work right now? Or should I do this thing? And yeah, so that's how I would define it as a job if it has urgency and it's guarded from everything else.
Fascinating. So something you mentioned there, like like whenever, like you mentioned the garbage truck, for example, any kind of personal project usually is done after your main priority, which is usually commercial work or a job or whatever your responsibilities may be. And that's always done in the pockets that are available. So this is kind of like inverse, right? Like the priority is this project now. How long has this project been going on for?
Many years.
Okay.
In different forms. It's been, again, I know we're hyping it up. It's not that, it's not that, like no one's going to be surprised.
I wouldn't call it hype, it's
yeah.
just discovery.
Yeah. But in also like defining how long it's been going for, it's probably started like 5+ years ago as like, again, one of those bar conversations. Yeah. And then like you do something, is it considered as a process? But an actual process probably like the last 2 years. And it's interesting, even though it's on the surface, it's not going to be something very complex or groundbreaking or even new. Mm-hmm. It's so surprising to see how many issues we've run into doing something this simple. Like you would never expect something this on the surface straightforward being this complex behind the scenes. And it's just two people. Yeah. And people who listen to it it's not a video game. It's not a movie. It's something much simpler than that.
Cool. When did it become a priority then? Because I guess in that 5 years, it wasn't the main priority.
It became a priority when I realized, which I realized also a while ago, that I just don't think that I would like to do client work forever. I think I mentioned it many times before in like events and stuff where like, oh, the goal is to like quit the industry, like a kind of like
right.
very, very edgy thing to say. But like tying it with like what I was saying earlier, where, yeah, eventually I want to do something else. And this is a first step that will hopefully, fingers crossed, financially successful. So I don't have to do as much client work or like do commercial work and someone else can do that. And I can move on slowly into like some other direction. Because I realized that, yeah, concept art, concept design is fine. It's cool. It's cool to work on these big projects and shipping games or working with people on like these big productions. But now I'm like most people, I'm like, oh, I want to make my thing. I want to make my own project. I want to have an ownership of that. And also it's more exciting because it's not as clear as like, here's a JPEG, thank you for the dollars. Here it's like, I don't know what's going to happen. The whole thing might fail and burn and crash. And that's part of the excitement. It's something new. It's the next step. Hopefully it's a small step, but it's the next step in my career. And what's after that? The end game is probably to make a video game. But for that, you need a lot of other steps. So this is the first one towards that. So yeah.
Sick. Well, just to add a bit more extra hype on top of all the hype that we just dropped already, I'm fascinated to see it. On many levels, obviously in terms of like execution of what it is, there's a certain kind of, I guess, aura of quality that your work has. So there's always like, okay, what's next? What's you done next? Well, you know, and obviously whenever we see something, I guess subconsciously, sometimes even consciously, you're always like trying to, I guess, measure things up. Like, okay, how does it compare to the best work or what I really enjoy? And is it an improvement, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Most of the time it's just pure endorphins and it's just nice to see. But at the same time, it's scary when you're having a conversation about either not working or taking time off work. Whether it's by force, because as we all know many people who have been let go or had projects cancelled, for example, or in other cases where it's more like, no, this is my next career step as well. How did you reason with that? And did you even reason with that?
So the last, like, kind of post-pandemic video game movie production thing industry, it's been going completely wild. Like there are massive cancellation. Like I literally came from 2 canceled projects, like back to back. And there's a lot of people who are struggling and trying to find their way. But for me, I think how to answer it. I'm like, okay, what do I want to do? And can I do it right now? So I want to do like my personal thing with my friend. Can I do it right now? Like, can I afford to take a bit of time off and focus on that? Thankfully, yes. And that was enough for me, because otherwise I will be stuck. Like I've been stuck for many years now in this endless loop of thinking that I want to do something, but I just don't do it. Like everything is, for many years, everything's been, if anything, I wish I did this way, way before, like years ago. Cause yeah, everything's been set up for it. And I just didn't kind of like take the plunge and go for it. Cause it is kind of scary. And I know for people, it might sound weird, like, oh, like, you have an ability and time to do whatever you want in terms of personal work. Yes, but I think a lot of people, when they will hopefully reach the same point where you can do something like that, it's going to be a difficult decision as well, where you'll need to come up with some really good reasons as to why you want to pursue something like that instead of like a safety, let's say, of your career net. My reasoning was like, if I don't do it now, I'll never do it. I'll just keep talking about it and thinking about it. So it's probably not the best time to do it. Like right now, probably better to do freelance and just cash in while it lasts. But who knows? Life's industries and everything's been changing forever. Like, I don't know what's going to be in 5 years. Might as well just enjoy doing what I want right now.
Exactly. I mean,
figure out the rest later.
The last 5 years for sure wasn't predicted at all. Like, at least in terms of the turmoil. And that's like a definite something to meditate on in itself, of like what people always assume and think is going to happen, and why they think and what they assume, and obviously the data they go by. And then match that up with when things just radically change in a fast pace as well. Normally things are like a slow burn and a slow turn, sometimes just completely rapid, and it almost pivots immediately. It's definitely a fascinating topic. And I guess one final question on this. Not to, I guess, encourage people to quit their day jobs or make big career changes. But at the same time, with all the things that are happening, and I think also, as you've shown as well, and other people I've spoken to, and I guess just reading between the lines of stuff, there's a lot of creatives out there who are very skilled, who can do stuff, but they also have stuff that they can offer beyond that as well, whether that be completely different things or applying their voice into whether it's projects, IPs, products, and what have you as well. And I think it's an excuse either by force for some people or by design for others. Like, it's all, I think it's like there's a bit of an off ramp in terms of to do that. The tools are there, the skill sets are there, the knowledge is there. Obviously, those that have meditated on it and developed their craft can obviously exploit that as well. And I guess I think there's going to be a mini boom in, I guess, indie creators, but indie creators who are already creatives, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know if that's always the case in a lot of the stuff that's class indie, for example. So, hypothetically, for that particular person who maybe is in the same kind of like mindset, maybe the same kind of like crossroads as yourself, but there's an A or B option. For that person who decides to take the option that you took, what kind of things would you advise them, or maybe even yourself, if you could talk back in time, to keep an eye on, to watch out for, or even to cultivate doing an adventure like this, which is basically independent and doing it all yourself without that kind of like, I guess, net of consistent work that is protecting you?
I think the easiest and the most kind of like practical thing that you can do right now, that's also something I'm working on the side as of my like personal work, is, so we live now in a day and age, and been for a while actually, tools are getting easier and easier. And like, you can literally, again, type in and you get an image.
Yeah.
So we can produce more, which is really good. So I would encourage people, to spend as much time figuring out what you like, what drives you, and just building that kind of like your own style, right? So like for me, like you look at my stuff, it's like very like hard surface, military inspired. For you, for someone else, it might be something else. So that's step one. Figure out exactly what you like, what drives you, what you're passionate about, what you can do for a long time consistently. Second, if you have no idea what to do in terms of like, how can you monetize something? How can you like create a product, or maybe you just have no idea. Like, oh, I don't know how to make money unless I have clients. That's fine. We all there. It's okay. I would highly recommend right now people, now, if they can, take more time off and do larger personal projects. By larger, I mean, I think the era of like, here is one design, like even the stuff that I do, like here is a garbage truck, here is a tank. I think, and also I hope, that era is kind of ending, where one image is, or like one design is enough. And I think we're entering an era where you should be making like micro IPs, mini projects, make a prototype, right? That is a new personal piece. The new personal piece is not like a tank. It's 3 tanks that do something and there is a story behind it. Tools are there. If you have time, focus on that, because that will stand out, first of all. So people already start, I already see people doing like mini movies in like Blender, like cinematics and stuff, right? It's way cooler than just one image. And if you're going to do that, if you're going to take time to make much bigger projects and just like, here is my vision for the next Half-Life 3, and it's like an animated cinematic, that will garner more attention. So you want as much attention and likes on Instagram and all of that in ArtStation as you can. I know it's a bit cringy, like, oh, who cares about like likes? It's very important. Like right now, you need to get audience. So if you don't know how to monetize something, at least build an audience that really cares about your stuff. Start building some sort of a personal brand identity, your own project, your own mini game, your own animation, film, whatever, and just see where that goes. Because most likely, if it's good, it will find its audience. And once it finds its audience, naturally, you will find a way to somehow perhaps make it into your day job. And I'm not saying anything new. Like this is the formula that's been working for like forever. But I think now is the time to really start thinking about it, because again, we're competing now with like people who just type in a random image and they get like 20 in like 5 minutes. And if the future will be, the creative future will belong to people who have clear vision of what they want, and they kind of build it, I think, as small packages rather than singular shots. So, and obviously, if you know exactly how to monetize or create a business, you don't need my advice. Please tell me, like, I'll listen.
What kind of gaps are you seeing in either your knowledge or expertise that you would love to add?
Unreal Engine, straight up. Unreal Engine, or like any game engine, and actually making any tool, any knowledge that gets you closer to the bigger final product. Like right now, I can make something up to a very polished level, but I have harder time, for example, like animating or doing something more with it. So if you already know how to design really well and you've been doing it for a while and you can present stuff really well, the next step is using as much time as possible to get to real-time results. So ideally, I think the end game for kind of like current era of concept art and concept design, I think will be Unreal Engine. I think the tools will get so much faster and easier that we will be able to like make cinematics or mini games that will probably, if it doesn't exist already, some bridge between like your 3D package and the Unreal Engine where you can, and it can be automated or something. I don't know. So I would say, making more complex project real time, something that people can either play or like watch other than like one image. I think that's definitely where I'm thinking I need to go.
Cool. One more topic before we get into the course. You mentioned traveling.
Yes.
Talk to me.
Laptop's heavy. The cabin luggage is never enough. I had a huge laptop. I had a second screen. That whole thing weighed like 5 kilos combined. A lot of airlines have like 7 kilo limit. I had my Steam Deck. I had 2 cameras, 3 lenses. Some stuff can't go into the hold, into the plane because batteries. It's like, well, is that a problem? Actually, yeah. The sheer weight of moving with your gear from place to place, from country to country, from hotel to hotel is hard. Next one, comfort, obvious. Or is it obvious? Or is it not? I don't know. Maybe for some people, like, so, okay, we've all seen the iconic Instagram stories and reels of people working from Bali. You get the villa, you have the swimming pool, you know, you work 2 hours in the morning and you make millions. Maybe for some people who trade stocks or some crazy stuff, maybe that works. It did not work for me. Like I had the whole setup. We went to Indonesia for a month at the end of our trip, and we kind of wanted to see what that lifestyle is like. I personally really didn't like it because no matter where you go, you can't get like a comfortable chair, for example, very like just all the random chairs. You can't get like a desk at the right height. And it's all these tiny things that kind of add up, plus the fatigue from moving, just simply going from like the airport to the hotel to the food, unknown places, unknown languages. And that really accumulates. And once it's time to sit down and do something, you just kind of like, I'm just tired. I'm just like, it's not like here at home. I wake up, I go to my nice adjustable desk. I have my ultra wide screen. I have my powerful computer. Easy. When you travel, it's, I did not enjoy mixing two together over such a long period of time. So I would definitely, if I would do something like that again, I would time block everything very like strictly. So like, here is a month of not moving and just do like personal work. Also doing client work. I don't think it's possible to efficiently for me do client work while traveling. I wasn't really doing client work while I was traveling, just because I would not have enough time to get it done. If someone's like just drawing or sketching ideas, maybe it's possible. But for me, it was it's just not really feasible. So interesting experience, very cool to see it in videos, very cool to see it how other people do it. But until you're in there, you don't realize just how many nails are on the road of that lifestyle. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah.
That's interesting take, because I think especially with workspaces in general, like we're like birds, I guess. Like we curate a nest a little bit in a particular way we want, in a particular tree that we want, and it has to be a certain amount of twigs or whatever, and then we're just happy. And they kind of like replicate that in different kind of places. Like you do have to, I guess, cut a lot of fat or compromise a lot on your setup just to do that as well. But the little thing you mentioned, like the desk height and all that kind of stuff, like those are little pet peeves I have. If I have to go out to work on a coffee shop, for example, or whatever, is like there's sometimes the stool so shit or the table so wobbly or what, these things that you can't control. But equally, I guess, just like generally on traveling, like the way I like to look at it sometimes, it's you do get a lot of information, but I also see it like a data purge as well. Like you kind of like just get rid of some of the old stuff, and then some new experiences take its place, and that's what I guess is what kind of fuels you again. And I guess one of them for yourself was seeing, I guess, like not the negative side, but the nails in the road and stuff. What anything else that kind of like would be equivalent of your data purge on traveling that you never had before?
By data purge, you mean like updating my knowledge or something, or
I guess like a iOS update, like a new version, because a new travel experience or culture you've experienced or whatever it might be has kind of like usurped maybe some of the things that you had valued before or had looked to before, I guess, whether it's inspiration or just even something a bit more vague.
I think one thing I realized, because I live in England, in UK, and before, let's say, I left to Japan, I was never particularly bored of like my surroundings, or I wasn't bothered by like what's around me. It was more like, I mean, city is a city, right? Like you just live there. And then like living for a year in Japan, because we were staying in Tokyo all the time, pretty much, and we were traveling from Tokyo to across the country. And there is just so much interesting stuff there that I value like just my surroundings a lot more. And for example, in Tokyo, the one thing I really enjoyed is I could just walk out of my apartment and just walk in literally any direction for like 2 to 3 hours with my camera, and I'll just find something interesting, or the city will just not end. And Tokyo is such a walkable city. It's so easy to exist there. There's not a lot of cars. There's good public transportation. People know all that stuff. It's safe. So now being back to the UK, for example, and not having that ability is a bit sad. So like I before I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll go for a walk. I'll go to the gym. I'll do this stuff. But when we were in Japan, it was more like, oh, I really want to do it. Like I don't have to. And then when I come back, I would just feel much happier. And I like, if I need to do some personal work or something and I get back to it, I'm like, oh, it's a lot more fun. So yeah, I guess like the surroundings there for me personally were so great that now I'm back to the UK and it's a bit gray. It's a bit like rainy. Where I live, there's not that much interesting stuff around me. Like there's no point for me to like really go and explore because I've seen everything here.
Yeah.
So my perception of my surroundings has really changed. Not to mention all the cool tech you see in Japan. Obviously, we were living right next to like Shinkansen line where I see them every day. Like I go to gym every day and there's always like the bullet trains going and you see all the crazy tech and like the engineering and all that stuff. So yeah, but did I like purge anything in particular? Probably no. I think I just gained a lot of extra stuff and knowledge about what I like. Yeah.
You mentioned this in the course, but for the listeners, how do you define concept design?
Now I'm just trying to recall what I said in the course so it matches.
No, it's okay. It doesn't matter. It's fine.
So concept design is, well, first of all, it's making a cool object. Like if I have to simplify it, it's you just making just a cool object that doesn't exist. Concept, it's like conceptual, right? And design, you're designing something. So like just making a cool thing, whether it's a vehicle, a weapon, a prop, doesn't matter. You're focusing on the form, the shape, the function, the vibe. You're not painting anything. You're not making a landscape. You're not doing, because that could be classified concept design as well, I guess. But for me, concept design is like you solve problems. And by problems, I mean, does the hatch open and does it intersect with anything? And you specialize in something. Because there are people who like character concept designers. They like, or I don't know if it's an industry term or people just make stuff up.
Yeah.
Like it's like for me, the reason why I like concept design instead of concept art is vague. Art is like concept design is technically art. Designing a vehicle is technically art. So saying concept design is like, okay, I am designing an object. That's how I define it. So that would be my way to kind of like explain it to people. Yeah. So
your course, Advanced Vehicle Design, again, the links are attached to the episode. Please do check it out. First lessons are free. Again, depending on when this airs, there will definitely be a discount, but it depends on how much when it airs, but it'll still be juicy. Like you said earlier on, there's artists and designers where when you look at what they do, there's a lot of amazing artists. But there's always, and I guess it depends on your taste and what you like and what you specialize in. But there's always a handful, or maybe even more than a handful, where you want to dig deeper. You want to see, okay, yeah, they got to this result, but then you obsess or want to find out how they got to the result. And then how they got to that how, and then obviously it goes into this beautiful rabbit hole, and it can almost like influence and maybe even infect the way someone can, hopefully in a good way, they design and they create as well. And you're definitely one of them, for sure. As you said, you've had a lot of people ask you, and it's always been an intriguing thing. Like, how was that done? Like, obviously, when you see your work, it smacks you in the face in a good way. Like, it's very eye-popping. It's very striking, so it gets your attention. Obviously, offline, recently we spoke, and we were speaking about ArtStation and obviously things that are trending. Like, it's stuff that, yeah, like on your own personal, I guess, algorithm, whenever you see it, it's like there's certain artists that you see, oh, they've posted something new. It's almost like instant checkout. Let's see what they've got. Let's see what it is. So obviously then it goes into like, how does this person make stuff? And then from there, depending on your angle of things, sometimes it's a case of, okay, verbatim, I need to know how each step is and how this person does stuff. For some people, it's more like, I guess maybe it's the wrong way to explain it, but like, what is that person's mythology of how they make things and what motivates them, etc., etc. So we have this nice, juicy course of you doing just that. Give us an intro as to what's in the course, what people can get from it, and why did you decide to do one?
So the course is advanced vehicle design, and it's advanced not in terms of its, I think, complexity, because people who will watch it, they will quickly realize that technically it's not that complicated. Like the Blender stuff, people ask me, what are your Blender setup shaders? And then you'll actually see it. You'll see my geometry and you'll be like, that's it? That's like, yes, it's going to be very simple. But the advanced part comes from I think the combination of everything that I talk in there. Also, just because it's advanced doesn't mean like the beginners can't take it. Absolutely. Like everyone will find something very useful in there. And in the course, I even give you some suggestions as to how to approach it based on your level. So if you've never done anything like that, you can absolutely still take it. But yeah, we're going to be doing grounded vehicle design, because that's what I'm known for. And that's the thing that people ask me most of the time. Like, how do I combine that kind of like near future sci-fi look or a sci-fi look, but still feels like grounded and weighty, and like you look at it and you understand what it is. So if you're interested in that stuff, definitely check it out, because I'm going pretty in depth along the course. Like, yeah, I'll explain how I get to that point. And it's a lot of small decisions that lead to the final result. It's not very much like 1, 2, 3, even though there is a structure. There's a clear structure as to how we will approach. But then within that structure, there is a lot of like small steps, a bit of chaos, revisions, redoing stuff, deleting stuff. And as I was kind of like re-listening to some of the videos that I've recorded myself, it's in places it's almost like a podcast, right? I'm just talking about what I'm like seeing on the screen. And I think there's a lot of value in that. Instead of me like, oh, here is how you design a gun for a truck. There is certainly that, but a lot of the stuff is me thinking out loud. This course is my brain, like kind of on the video. And if you go for the entire thing, you will have a very good idea of how I approach my stuff, and you will definitely be able to take something into your own work from there.
Yes. Well put. It does. Yeah. I didn't think of it that way, because I was sort of it like, well, yeah, I guess, when I watched it and obviously was going through, I was like, I feel like I'm a part of the conversation that you're having with the design. And obviously that's what a podcast is, just a bunch of conversations. And I think that's a very interesting way, and I guess more of a very honest way of how things are always made and designed. Like whether it's with an art director or client, what have you, there's always some kind of back and forth. In this case, it's with yourself and the viewport. I also think it helps. It kind of like takes on a nice, almost like what do they call them? Ski lifts. Like you're on a ski lift as to how this progresses and how it kind of goes along. And it doesn't feel, obviously, complexity is a very cheap word to use when it comes to like how things look, but your designs have a lot of visual elements on there. So it can appear like, okay, this is very complex. Like, where do you start? And how do you even make decisions doing that? And obviously you go through all of that, like why this is there, how you do it, and even the stuff. And it's also like your reasoning with it. Like there's obviously cases where, okay, I know this doesn't make sense, or it wouldn't make sense, there's no practical application, but here's my justification for it. Or I don't care, I have to put this in there because of what it means. And yeah, it's a very human course. That makes sense.
Absolutely. And that's something that I really wanted to do. Whereas, like I've taken a bunch of courses over my lifetime, and it's good to have a technical course where it's very like let's say like recently I was learning how to rig, and it's like very dry step by step because like it's a mechanical thing. But when it comes to like my designs, even though it's like, you know, metal things on wheels and war machines, I think there's a lot of emotion behind it. Because a lot of the times I base on that feeling. It's not just like, I just want to make like a truck. Like, no, we want a certain feeling. And the only way to communicate that with the student is to just like, hey, I'll just kind of like dump my brain. Obviously it's somewhat organized into actionable steps and digestible. But yeah, I wanted to make sure that whoever watches it, it's not just like 1, 2, 3. There is a freaking part in that course with the spare wheel. That's like an entire arc that I went through. Like
it's a subplot for sure.
that thing just like drove me mad. I'm like, I want it there, but then I don't want it there. So
I did kind of get sad, not to give any spoilers, but I did kind of get sad what you ended up with, the finale of that particular arc. But sorry, continue.
Yeah, well, that's great because everyone will look at it and be like, why did you do this? And I'm like, well, this is what I do. Like, right. So maybe you disagree and you will take something away from it. But seeing that very human approach to this stuff, and there are so many things in that course where I'm like, when I watch it back, I'm like, well, this just looks like you don't know what you're talking about. And like, yes, a lot of stuff I don't. I'm just like vibing and just getting it out there. And eventually I just believe that it will turn into something final. And I just stick to it. I finish it. And then I'm like, damn. Like even in the course, there are some videos where I look like, oh, looking back at this, I still like it. And that's good. Like you're going to get a lot of that stuff. So you can just get the course, put it on listen to it like a podcast if you want to.
I think what we should get done is definitely this like whole like I guess a life lesson playlist or like, you know, a special like I guess director's cut, because from in the middle of like say figuring out a turret or like a rivet or something like that, then it's some life advice as to what you should do or what happens on that kind of stuff. And it's really cool how that's kind of like woven in there, because I'm still watching what's happening. I'm thinking like, oh, now I'm getting all these kind of like life advice and a different kind of like perspectives of how to do things. And I think I definitely take away a lot of people are going to have. Like that's going to be a nice little, almost like an Easter egg, like when you go through it and see what you get, because it's stuff that you've experienced, that you've seen happen in the industry, that clearly a lot of people go through that cycle of these kind of thoughts or what have you. So having that, definitely there's artists out there who's taking this that definitely look up to you. So to have that advice back on top of just design knowledge as well, I think it's a steal. It's a freebie for sure. But it's good to see that as well. And yeah, like the way you have this conversation with the design and your feeling of this kind of thing, it is literally like, you know how you got the, what do they call it when you see the keystrokes on screen when what you're pressing? It's like a mental version of that, and how you go through different steps. Also, with that said, it's easy to get lost in doing that. And at the very beginning, you put a lot of very solid foundations in place. And I think that's where the secret is how you root everything in your research. You kind of make all the sandbox, because it is kind of like a sandbox that you're still playing in, but you definitely put nice, clear definitions of the limits of that sandbox, and even the level of coarseness of the sand that's in there as well. Why is that important to do? And have you always done that?
So for me, this type of work, like, or doing this type of design, it's always like a balance between, I want to have fun and like do something cool, but also I want to, again, I'll say it here, I said it in the course, you have to finish stuff. I want to be able to finish things, and I don't want to do it for too long because like the stamina runs out, the time runs out, you get bored of things, something else comes up. So having some guardrails around, like something we established in a course where it pretty much like from the sketch to the final, it's almost the same. It's basically the same thing. But then as you watch the course, there's so many things that have changed. So I have a lot of flexibility to change something, but having established the foundations for the design, having established the clear guideline and the kind of like, oh, this is what it needs to be, and not having an option to kind of like change it midway, even if there is a better idea, really helps me to just stay focused. Because if I have a better idea, and again, in the course, I'll mention it, I'll be looking at stuff and be like, maybe I should like, go and do this next thing again. You can always do extra later. But if anything, in the course, again, I stress a lot of the times about you have to finish stuff, to focus on it, and you have to do those repetitions. And one of the easiest ways is to create some sort of guardrails and stick to them. And with this design, there were definitely quite a few, but it's not as restrictive where like I'm like, oh, I have no creativity left within this box. So you establish the box, but what's happening within the box, you can always change.
Yeah, like you mentioned, the, let's put it in quotes, sketch that you do. When I saw that, I was thinking, what's left to see? That this is quite early on in the stuff that you post. I was like, okay, this is going to be interesting. And that's something that people can take away as well. Like, depending on your time, on your schedule and what have you, you can even get to that stage and just kick that out if you need to, depending on your project or whatever you need to do as well. That is so usable, like just to evaluate something, and you can just use it any way you please. But then obviously when you see what comes afterwards and the time that you take, and even the level of attention you give to the design problem, I think that's one thing that you don't get away from, because maybe it is the way I interpret it, because, and you made this clear in the course as well, like it's not only like, say, like you said, these distinct steps, but even in the vehicle itself, it's not distinct steps in the areas that you work on. It's kind of like when you're modeling clay or pottery, like this kind of spinning, and you're just kind of like seeing it all in rotation and just tweaking it as when it needs to. And then only when the form's there, that's when you kind of like tidy things up and all that kind of stuff as well. But one thing I will say in terms of like what really stood out to me is there are these conversations that you have, these honest questions, which I guess if you don't see it in context, could come across as insecurity. Like, I don't know if this works, I don't know if this is good or not. But there's one thing that is quite clear is there is a lot of confidence in this course. And not in an arrogant way. It's more in a way of, you know that the result's going to come because of the process that you have and the decisions that you make. Like, maybe the first one doesn't make sense, but you know, okay, it's that way. That route is not going to work. You know which route to go in the end. And it's genuine when at the end of the course you say, I'm very happy with this. Despite all of the conversations that you had, some of the issues that you maybe had with the design, even when you're kind of going over the final illustrations, oh, you're like, oh shit, I just saw this thing that I can't unsee now. You actually said, I wish I can't unsee this now, kind of thing. Which is something that we always have in our kind of projects. That's so human and so obvious, but at the same time, it's still badass. Like it's still great. And like you said, that'd be so cool to see students almost take on board with their own kind of work as well. Like, yes, as artists, they're always that kind of like, not nagging doubt, but maybe an insecurity, or is this good enough, or what have you. And sometimes we look for external validation to decide if it's good or not. But with the way you approach it, it's almost like you validate it yourself, which I think is very, very powerful. And it'd be cool to see how that manifests with students and they take this stuff as well. And also your kind of like opening brief as well, where you say, don't copy this design. I want you to do your own thing. Why did you start off with that?
Well, because what's the point, right? If I was doing like a rigging tutorial where I show you like how to do step by step something, like something very technical, sure. If it's repeatable, that like if you copy my design and you just do exactly what I've done, well, you will learn something from it for sure. That's 100%. You will take away something. I just don't feel like if you're a designer, or if you're an aspiring designer, if you're creative, you should be able to be like, okay, like this is cool, but I'm gonna do my thing while taking in some steps and some advice and stuff. So I personally don't like if I do like a course and like I copy it. Honestly, I just get bored. Like it's not my idea, right? So for people who will take the course, again, I give you some examples of what you can do there, but you can do the vehicle. You can even do some very similar vehicle to mine if you want to kind of like stick close to it, but just change it up in a way where, okay, so here's the good rule of thumb and how to test it. If you want to follow the course and you want to do something very similar, so you kind of like do the motions, but you don't want to exactly copy it, at the sketching stage, put your sketch next to my thing, and will people think it's the same design? Like, will they think that these two are like, oh, it's just two variations of exactly the same thing? Or will your design be like, it's kind of like the same base, but it's very clearly different vehicle. And a good example in the course is based on the existing vehicle. If you put them side by side, you're like, oh, I can kind of tell like they belong to the same family, the same function, but they very different designs. They like, the proportions might be similar, the amount of wheels might be similar, they both have turrets, but like they're not the same. You can't say it's like the same thing. So I would encourage people to do something like that, where just you can copy if you want, absolutely, but it's just not going to be as potent. You need to struggle with it. Even coming up with your design, with your initial idea, and you have to struggle with. Like if you just copy my stuff, you just miss the entire point.
Yep.
Like you need to sit with your sketches, with your reference boards, and be like, what do I want to do? And until you figure that out, don't move on. Just take a week, 2 weeks, a month. I don't know.
That for me is also, at least my interpretation of where the advanced part really is in the course. Like, because it really, obviously, if you take on what you suggest, it will help you advance. Like, if you do it in that particular way, you're doing your own identity or your own take on things, it will force you to make decisions that you cannot make if you are copying things verbatim. And what I'd also recommend as well, like, definitely don't be shy away from if it takes multiple iterations as well. As you show in the course, like, things take multiple iterations and just get discarded and maybe sometimes come back as well. But with one thing on that as well is like, yeah, like the whole conversation that you have with the vehicle, and even at the end with your paint over phase, the way you meditate on like certain sections and assess them almost like precision, like NASA engineering with there's like really precise calipers to see like, oh no, this is off by a micron or something. We need to kind of like redo it kind of stuff. Like, whether you decide to do that or not, that's obviously totally up to yourself, but it shows kind of like the benchmark. Like, I guess like in a weird example, it's like having a personal trainer, right? You can copy their technique, but it's going to be a long time, if never at all, you can match them in terms of the execution, their intensity. But having them as like a guide is the perfect thing, because you can always cross-reference and double check and, check if they measure up. What can students prepare before they take the course? And whether that's obviously like the add-ons that you use, software and what have you, What kind of mentality should they bring to the course before they take it, if any at all?
So to prepare like kind of hardware, software stuff, you can do the whole thing on paper if you want, obviously.
Yes.
I've used Blender, like in terms of add-ons, it's usually all the, I'm not sure, like since I done the course, my Blender stack got much smaller. Like my goal is to have as little add-ons as possible, but the standard like hard ops, machine tools, I'm pretty sure I go over it in the course as well. So yeah, I do Blender. Any 3D package will work. Photoshop, Blender. It's not about really the tools. It's about your mindset. And in terms of mindset, which is the most important here. I would highly recommend taking time to do it. As in, like literally, like if you can take a week off to just really go through it in like, okay, I'm taking it as my job. Like, so 6 to 8 hours a day, I'm just going to be working on this thing very seriously. That will accelerate your progress like super fast. That's going to be really good. It's very obvious, like it's like anything else, but I thought I'll mention it. What else? Fail a lot. I think the fastest way to improvement and to learning is the sooner you can fail on something, the sooner you can be unhappy with something, the better. So if you're doing the course, like, yes, I do some iterations in there, do more, right? Or like if you're not 100% happy with something, be prepared to be like, doesn't feel good, don't know how to solve it. That's fine. Just try again. So patience. Probably the most important thing for this whole thing. If someone asks me like, how do you do your stuff? Like, what's the one thing, the most important tool? Patience. Because if you don't have patience, my course, other courses, any type of art, it's just not gonna really go anywhere. And it's something that we're lacking right now in the world in general with like 5-second attention spans of humans. Like patience will really get you far. So have fun, be patient. It's going to take a long time. It's not a short course. It's pretty dense. There's a lot of stuff. And just enjoy it. Don't take it too seriously. Don't be like, I need to make it, like I need to get a job from it or something. Just make something, just like something you enjoy. I'm just here to help you. I'm just like, hey, like you can do this, you can do that. Here's how I did it. Don't copy exactly. Just again, we're gonna do it together. Once you listen to the course, I bring people on board. Then yeah, I think patience is probably the most important thing that people should approach this with, because it just takes time to do this stuff.
And for you personally, what would you like to see from students?
So I just want to see people to finish stuff. So like, I want to see someone who, let's say and if you're listening to it and if you're going to take the course and if you're going to finish it, like if you're at this point and you're like, oh, I hear you, DM me on Instagram on ArtStation and let me know that like, oh, here is my final thing. I finished it. Like, just do it. Like, here you go. That would be awesome. So I would like people to really finish it and do it without, like, a lot of people, when they get something, like they do a cool sketch and they like post it and they share it. I would encourage people to finish the entire course, finish your design without sharing it with anyone. Like maybe share it with like if you want feedback from your close friends who you trust, do that. Don't post it online. Only post the final thing. Like I would want someone to take it. Imagine you're working for a client. It's like a client project. I'm the client. I need the final image. Finish the entire course. Whether you copy my design or you do something of your own, ideally your own, finish it, send it to me. Let me know that you heard it in the podcast, that you asked me to do it and you took it seriously. I think that would be the best compliment you can give me, because like we put here, myself and the team at Learn Square, we put a lot of effort and time into it. And it would be amazing to see people to really like go through the entire thing, get something out of it. And if you do that, I'll give you feedback. So if you send me your final image, DM me Instagram, ArtStation, or email, and you told me that you heard it on Learn Square podcast, free feedback on that design.
Perfect. Everybody, advanced vehicle design, hit the links to this episode or just head to learnsquare.com and just sign up straight away. If you need to check out the course, obviously this is only after it's released. The first lessons are free as well. So you can just get yourself a flavor of like what's to come before you purchase as well. But this is definitely a banger of a course. Alex, it's absolutely been amazing. Thanks so much for jumping on.
Awesome, dude. Thanks for having me. And I look forward to seeing all the awesome designs that people will do. And I hope this whole podcast been insightful.
A big thanks to Alex for another amazing episode. Hit the links to sign up for Advanced Vehicle Design today, and also to see what Alex has been up to. I've been your host, Aaron Danda. Till next time.